Hello everyone and welcome back to my Minecraft YouTube tutorial series. This is part 2. This is where we build the actual mob spawner part of our mob spawner farm. In the first video, it was the water elevator. If you have not seen that, feel free to check out my channel, or you can click right below in the description for that link. What we're doing here is we're picking up where we left off at. We built the 4 blocks there in the middle. And we're currently putting the storage chests for the spawner. Now I'm building off of memory, and I put these chests in the wrong spot. They need to be moved over 1 because that middle part where I put those blocks is where the hoppers are supposed to go to collect the items from the mobs that we kill. Now you really don't have to do this step if you don't want to store items, but this is a really good way to get gunpowder, bows, arrows, and things like that from your skeletons and your zombies and stuff. That way you can kind of build your fireworks for your elytra later. You can have arrows if you choose to go with the mending bow and not the infinity bow. And you can even get gear that you can use for turning into nuggets, iron, and gold. So we've got our chest here. The build list is in the top right hand corner. I used some of the feedback from the last video and some of the looks of it, and I changed it. I added a little background and stuff. That list is going to be consistent for now. I want it to come down in materials as we use them in the build in the future, but there's a lot of editing involved in that, and I haven't really got it down to a science yet. So we've already used all the chests. We don't need any more chests. We're about ready to use the hoppers, which I think I was looking for them and just passed them there. But I remembered I had some upstairs in the chest. I have everything I need upstairs in that chest, which is why we built it in the first video. That way we can be prepared for the future. So now that we're out here, we're going to go ahead and grab our hoppers. We only need 8 for the job. You shift click when you're placing hoppers. So we're going to shift click 1, 2. Make sure they're pointed at the chest. It's super important. 3, 4. And then we come down and do the same thing from the upper chest to the lower chest. You shift click into them and it empties out and goes into those chests. That way you have 4x the storage. So all the hoppers have been eliminated. Now I'm testing it out here to show you how it works. So an item's going to drop, go into the hopper, and go all the way down to that last chest. And as that bottom chest fills up, it goes into the chest above, etc., etc. And I'm tossing things into other hoppers to kind of show you where it goes, how it works, how it functions. That way you can understand and know that your build is put together correctly. We go on ahead and finish putting stairs around, and then we put down our first level of our base. Now, the base plate of the spawner dictates where your number 1 row is going to be, and the way you figure out how many materials you need is how high you want them to drop. Now, I usually do mine around 21 blocks high, but you can range it anywhere from 20 to 24. Just know the higher that you go, the more likely the creatures are going to die. And they're going to drop materials by default and not give you any XP. So if you want a material farmer, you can make it higher. If you want an XP farmer, you want to make it lower. We based all of our math off of 21 blocks high for the drop. Right now I'm getting all my materials together. We got our carpet. Now, you only need like 108 or 118 pieces of carpet, but I say 2 stacks to be on the safe side because you want to make sure that you have enough. I'm loading in all of our trapdoors. I'm making sure my inventory has exactly what we need. I'm taking an axe to break the trapdoors in case I place them incorrectly. I put carpet down here erroneously. You don't want to put carpet down just yet, but carpet is important. And the reason why you use carpet is because the XP balls get stuck in the cracks of the hoppers. I break them because we want to put blocks down first in order to set kind of the trim around the farmer. And what you want is you want slabs in the front. That way you have somewhere to kneel down to. Kneeling down in the farm is super important because you need to be able to not have sight of the monsters. If the monsters see you, for example, like a creeper, they're going to detonate and blow up and ruin your entire build. So here we are trimming it out. You really don't need to put stairs. One of the videos I saw put stairs to kind of give it like a little trim piece. We actually removed those later. But these slabs right here in the front are the most important part. And I think I actually demonstrate it here in just a second, but maybe I don't. We break open those. We put the carpet down now. And that's level 1. And that's your 1 that you use to count going upward. So here I am grabbing my cobblestone that I broke up, making sure I have as many pieces as possible. You want to eliminate extra trips as much as you can. So I try to make sure I have everything. I top off everything that I need. That's our level 1, and we go from there. Now I speed this bit up after I do the first like row or so, just to show you that it's the same consistent 2x2 opening going all the way up. This is why you don't want this to spawn spiders, because the spiders can clog it up. So I think 3/4 of the way up I lose count, and I have to go back down and build a block up to count correctly. We actually end up taking that down afterwards. But that's one of the problems you can run into while you are building this in the wild. One smart thing to do would be to check your Y before you go up. That way you know where you started and where you're ending up. So this is me coming down because I lost count. So I grabbed the bucket of water afterwards, and now I'm starting counting right here. I'm like, okay, well, this is 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm counting. I'm getting my count back up. That way I can continue going. And I don't include that block because we can take it away later. Now, once you come up here, each one of those legs going around the side are going to be where the water flows to bring the monsters down. So the way this spawner works is the monsters spawn, they walk towards the edge, they fall because they think they can walk due to trapdoors. They fall into a river of water. The water carries them to that hole, drops them down to your level, take near lethal damage, and then you finish them off. So here I am being fancy, keeping my wall without a block underneath it. It saves you materials in the long run. So I always build a block before, get it all laid out. This is all, the blocks are 8 long. And the reason why they're 8 long is because that's the maximum distance water can travel. If it could be longer, I'm sure we can make it longer to make the mob spawner larger. But we don't need to do that. I'm kind of not shift walking only because we're not in hardcore. If I was in hardcore, I'd be shift walking the entire time. However you feel confident running around this platform is up to you. We middle click to get our stacks. And I'm trying to, I use the mouse wheel to traverse my toolbar. And all I got to do is mouse wheel down once to get to my pickaxe and then up once to get to my block. But my brain is so used to scrolling back and forth through the wheel that it's a hard habit to break. So you'll see me fumble around with the mouse bar trying to get to the proper tool when all I need to do is mouse wheel up or down once. And I kick myself a few times while making this video because I'm like, I should know better. I should know better. So here's the wall. Now this wall here initially, the very first layer is the most involved layer. There's more block here on the first layer than the other layers almost combined. You've got the track for the water. And then this wall that we're putting together right now needs to actually be 2 blocks high. We're putting the first block together. That way we kind of get the water flow compartments put together and finalized. And then what happens is here we build our infinite water pool on the first level, and then we no longer need the water buckets. You'll notice in the build list there is redstone and there's iron trapdoors. We actually don't use those until the very end. I don't have them put together right now. I forget to build them until the very end. Like I said, I'm building this by memory. So I'm figuring it out as I go along. But I have it here in the list. That way you have it prepared when it's time for you to use it. And I also have 30 stacks of material. I think I did the math correct on that. Because this first area here has the double walls. Each quadrant you build that gets the trapdoors and the carpet is a stack. So that's 4, 8, 12 stacks. Then the walls around are about 12 stacks. That's 24. And then this short little wall here and stuff should be the other 6. If it's different, let me know. I want to make sure I get more accurate in the future, but I'm pretty sure 30 is more than enough. This is us putting the second row on the wall that we were too high. And then after we build out these platforms are duplicate going the rest of the way up. Now I make my mob spawner 3 levels high. You can go 2, you can make 1, you can go up to 5, 6, 7 if you want to, depending on how many monsters you want to come down. But I think the sweet spot's right around 3 because more would be less efficient and less would be not as efficient. Only because the spawner gets so high up and away from you that the monsters don't think to walk towards you. The trick to using this mob spawner is the trapdoors. Now, trapdoors, the monsters see it as a block they can walk on. And when you close the trapdoor, they can't walk on it. So when they walk towards it, they fall into the water. That's like the biggest thing. Here we are sleeping. A, that way it's daylight so that you guys can see what I'm working on. And B, because it's just a good habit to get into. Now, we are far enough off the ground where nothing's going to spawn. And nothing's really going to spawn while we're on the farmer itself because monsters don't really spawn right next to you. That would be very broken if the game did that. People would enjoy it less. Imagine casually sitting in the dark and a creeper just spawned right next to you. It would be like, oh, this is where I die, I suppose. So here's the first quadrant. You usually want to make your infinite water pool here. So I use that block instead of breaking it to go ahead and build the infinite water pool. Only takes 2 buckets. You put one in each opposite corner, and then you can get water from this infinitely. So there's the first bucket. Oops, I tossed it in there by accident. First bucket, second bucket, and now we have infinite water. Go ahead and use it now. Going around to each area, down to the bottom block, applying water. 1, 2, and that runs it all the way to the edge. Duplicate it for the other side. So you can see it goes to the edge. That way the monsters get pushed off and fall all the way down to the bottom. So we'll go to the second one. 1, 2. All the way to the edge. Beautiful. That's also how you know that you built your spawner correctly. Because if you see the water fall short, or if you see it water fall over, then you know you've done something wrong. And you're going to have to change how your build looks. So this is a really good skill check to make sure you put everything together right. You counted correctly to 8. Sometimes I forget. It's okay to forget. Sometimes you mess up. But at least if you catch it early on, you can repair it. So now we can get rid of our buckets. We no longer need them anymore. I'm going to grab water just in case, because sometimes you need a water elevator to help you get back down off the build. Especially if you're not building over the ocean. We're actually building over a landmass. So it's super important that you stay safe. And there's the first platform. So one would start building a wall around the edge if you want to save yourself even further. But I think we just go on ahead and come all the way around and close everything up. So I'm practicing my counting again to make sure I can get right on the corner, because it's a valuable skill to have. That way you're knowledgeable of what you're putting together. And then after we get all these put together, I show the wooden trapdoors, and I show the carpet. The reason why we have carpet in this build is to keep spiders from spawning. Spiders, if you want spiders to spawn in yours, don't put the carpet in. The problem with spiders is they can clog up that tube where the monsters come down, even if it's 3/4 of the way up, halfway, and that keeps the mobs from taking full damage when they fall. So it actually makes your spawn farmer less efficient. Now, if you're going for a materials farm and you don't care and you want string and spider eyes and everything else, then you can probably eliminate the carpet from this build and have access to everything. But if you want a super efficient mob farmer, you really don't need spiders. Spiders don't give that much XP anyways. Your best bet is to go to a mine shaft, or by luck find one in a cave and find a legit spider spawner, close it up, have access to it, and you turn that into your string farm or your spider eye farm. Spider eyes, I think, are important in making weakness potions. Don't quote me on that. For the villager trade hall in the future. You need to make a fermented spider eye with sugar, the eye, and something else. I'm blanking on what the other thing is. So here we are finishing. This is quadrant number 4. Each quadrant takes a stack of materials. Keep that in mind. So if you finish like the first 2 levels, you need to finish the third. Make sure you grab 4 stacks for the quadrant, because they're 8 by 8. 8 times 8 is 64. Quick math. So I think now we built the wall. You want to go 3 high on the wall because your next platform is going to be up. Your farm is 2 high, and that keeps, or 2 blocks high, and that keeps Endermen from spawning. You don't want Endermen to spawn only because they're just going to stay up there and just hang out, and they'll eventually just clog everything up, and it's not fun. And you can build an Enderman farm in the end once you get that going. And then once you get an Enderman farm going, you really don't need this farm anymore because you gain way more experience with the Enderman farm than you do with this one. This is just good for early game to get your enchantments to kind of hit that power spike with your diamond gear, to roll your prot 4s, your unbreaking 3s, to get your gunpowder. That way you can start making TNT if you want. You can start getting your arrows, and you can start making bows if you want, because some enchanted bows drop, so you can combine some of those and get your unbreaking power 5 bow early. So I don't do it here, but one thing you want to do is make a stairwell. That way you can get in and out of the area before patching it all the way up. I'm putting the 3rd block on now. I should have went 3 high all the way around, but I didn't. So I'm building one last block, and I was like, damn, I forgot. So we're making up for that now. But then you want to cut out a little stairwell. That way you can hop in and out of the area to transition to the next floor. It's a helpful trick because you can't really jump 3 blocks high. So I close everything up. I probably think of it now. Yeah. So this is the stairwell here, and then we got to cut 1, 2, 3 here, and that gets us down to the bottom. So that's our stairwell, and then we put carpet. So carpet's every 3rd. So you count. There's 1, 2, 3, and then the next one. 2, 3, and then the next one. That keeps, because spiders spawn in like a 1.5 by 3 area, and if you take that completely away from them, they won't spawn. So you can line them up. Make sure they're all in line. You can cat-a-corner them, make sure they all meet up. And then you can use this as a guide for the other corners. Stand back, make sure it looks like this. Then you're in good. Trapdoors, all the way across the edge. 8 on one side, 8 on the other. You need a stack per level. And then I would close all of them up, except for like 1. That way you can pass through to the other square in the meantime. I leave 2 up, I think. Just because if you're new and you're a little shaky around trapdoors, it gives you enough room to jump, some room for error. And then when you put them across the other side, you now have a walkway that you can connect yourself with. Make sure to close those before you go to the next level, because if you leave them up, your monster spawner is going to be less effective. So there's the 8 on that side. Here's the 8 on this side. We're leaving those 2 up. So we'll close that. Go ahead and hop over. I think we're putting all the doors now. Yeah. Putting all the trapdoors first. It doesn't matter what order you do this in, just as long as you use all of your materials. And using a stack per level makes it easy for you to go through your stack. If you have 16 doors left like we do right now, you know you're missing 2 edges. So there's your edge, and there's your edge. Leave those 2 doors open. We have a free hand. I middle click to get another stack back for the next floor. And then we carpet. I accidentally put a trapdoor here, which is why I'm glad I brought an axe. You might want to bring an extra few trapdoors with you in case that fell off into the hole. Then you have to like jump down and grab it. So if you're clumsy like me and you're gonna lose parts and pieces, you know, take an extra few with you. There's us. It lines up on the other side. We run across. You can jump if you want to, but sometimes people don't really run and jump. And trying to clear 2 blocks with a jump is difficult at times. So the trapdoors are more there just to kind of help you out more than anything else. Run this side, put the carpet there. Now this level is complete. We close up the doors and it's good to go. And then you just duplicate this on levels 2 and 3. So we'll go ahead and close these doors up. Run across and close them up. And you want to leave the quadrant that your stairway is on last. That way you're a little more efficient with your build. And that row's done. So now we sped it up for the other 2 rows, but literally just come back here for reference. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Your wall is 3 high. And then we start again. So you start off right above your wall here. You put a block and you go 8 by 8. Don't put one underneath. Sometimes you might mess it up. So there's our 8 by 8 quadrant there. And you start one over here. 8 by 8 over here on this side as well. Now I think what I did here was I got cheeky. And I started adding trapdoors early. You can do that if you want to. It doesn't really matter how you build it, as long as you keep it consistent like this. Did I go trapdoors as soon as I was finished here? No, I think I filled it in because I needed to sleep. Put the bed there, pass the night away. Super important for hardcore to do that. Just get in a habit. Don't cause phantoms to spawn. There's the first quadrant. I think I go ahead and put doors down. Oh, there's me putting the stairwell. So I got smart this time around. And I did the wall second after I got the first quadrant put together. I would suggest getting the walls out of the way first. That way you kind of have an idea of how much more material that you have. The walls are the most deceiving part about doing math. The spawner is 20 by 20. So you have 40 blocks at 3 high. It's 120 blocks a level. So yeah, we put our trapdoors here. Go ahead and start using our material. I went ahead and put my carpet here because I already had this quadrant done. So now we're done there. We're going to put trapdoors. I'm trying not to be careful not to fall doing this. Only because you can cut your way back up through the stair method like I talked about before. We've already put our wall up. It'll be a lot longer. We're trying not to break our tool. If you notice, we have barely enough tool left to finish this up. I changed up just a little bit and started building this quadrant first. We have that filled in. We're going to put the trapdoors. Hop over, do these trapdoors. And that should use up the rest of the stack. Now we know we've used all of our doors. I think I middle click for the next floor, or I should. Get in a habit of reloading your bar. That's why I had the carpet in one slot and the trapdoors in the other. That way I kind of know where I'm at with my material. Carpet down in the same method. Close up the doors as I go along. Our stairwell is in that last quadrant over there to the left. Now I'm closing the trapdoors with carpet in my hand. Be careful because you may accidentally put carpet on top of the trapdoors. And then you're going to have a real mess on your hands. And that was the second level. Once you get used to building the levels, it gets really, really easy to build the future levels. I think I have enough materials on me. The one thing I don't think I have are the slabs for the roof, which we use a water elevator to get down. I think I actually checked my inventory here in just a minute to see how much material I do have. Because after this, you go 2 blocks high and build the roof. I went 3 by accident, so I actually used a little more material than I should have. It's an extra 80 blocks, which is like a stack and a half. But I mined more than enough materials. That's one thing I do is I like to mine in this game. It's half the game, right? Mine, craft. So I actually choose to go ahead and fill in all the quadrants on here first before I put up any doors or anything. I'm showing different ways you can go about the order of operations and putting your spawn together. I think I just ran out of materials. So to make my trip worthwhile, I go ahead and put the doors up. And then I leave them all the way across, only because I have to go back down. And as long as you do this in the daylight, you shouldn't lose any... You shouldn't have any monster spawn up here. Now, we still have to go and get... we have to keep some more carpet for that last quadrant. But what I do is I make sure that I use as much materials as I can out of my inventory. That way we can pack more blocks, because you want to make sure that you have enough. So I left enough carpet in there. These are all the slabs for the roof. And I grabbed what I thought was enough materials to finish it out. I hope we do finish it. It's been a few days since I've recorded this video, so I don't remember if I had to go back down again or not. This is me waiting for the nighttime. It's important to sleep. So what I would, if I was thinking correctly when I build this quadrant, I would just go ahead and build the wall, but I may have gone ahead and did the carpet first. So like we're done with the carpet now. We don't have to put the carpet anymore. I'm closing everything up because we don't have a wall built yet. I want to make sure that it's functional. I went 3 all the way around. Now, you would only have to go 2 this time if this was your last row. Don't go 3 like I did. It's a waste of materials. And then I do a brief little slowdown and show the importance of placing slabs. Because monsters won't spawn on a bottom slab, but they will spawn on a top slab. So, here's my little tutorial. There's a block, and a slab has 2 levels. So if I were to take a slab and put it on top, that would not stop any monsters from spawning. Even though there's no space at the bottom, monsters will still spawn. Because it's the same height as a regular block. That's a no bueno. So what I would suggest is putting it on the bottom half of a block, and nothing will spawn there. In fact, I think I put something on top to show you why nothing will spawn there, because the game won't register it that way. See that? You have a gap in between, so that means it's not a realistic place, because monsters aren't going to spawn in the middle of the air. They're going to spawn on something. So make sure you place bottom slabs. The reason why I say that is because I made my wall 3 high by accident, so I have to place a bottom slab to get it started. So now that we have the bottom slab, it's easy to attach more blocks to that. Make sure we're 2 high. That way monsters can spawn underneath. And then cover the entire thing. Don't stop after 8. Don't leave the avenue open. You don't want any light coming in. And then I speed it up to kind of finish out the process. We've got 2 different colored slabs. I think it's 3 different colored. But here we go. And you can make these slabs out of anything that you want. You can even use wooden slabs if you wanted to. Whatever you think will work. Whatever materials you have access to that's easiest. Remember, this is an early build. You don't need to be perfect. You don't have to wait until you have like cooked bricks or smooth stone or anything like that. If you want to be bougie and make it special, then you can. If you're only playing in a creative world, there's really no reason to have this because you don't need experience for anything. So this is meant to look like it's hodgepodge together and cobbled together, to use a friendly Minecraft term. Because you want to make use of all your materials, and you're going to have granite, you're going to have andesite, you're going to have diorite. Turn them into slabs. You can use them. Use them as helpful blocks. Turn them into stairs if you want. If you want some consistency in your structure, make it all out of cobblestone, but use the other blocks as support. Make use of slabs, make use of stairs. They can be fun little accent pieces that you can use for the overall build. So there we are running out of granite. We're using our diorite. Should be able to seal the rest of it up. And then we go ahead and put some along the edge because I left a top slab there with the block. So now that makes it a bottom slab. And the build is finished. So then afterwards, the only thing left to do is to test it out. So we're finding a safe place to come down. I recommend coming down right there where you have your elevator going up and down. Just make a water elevator. Count to like 3 after you place it down. Grab the water. And then just come on down. Shift makes you go down faster. Space makes you go up faster. And now we're down and we're here. And if we wait around long enough, we'll see things spawn. Now, if you notice, the stairs make it look really, really bad. We end up cutting those out. There's the extra wall there that I had built earlier. So we go on ahead and go on up and bring this down. That's where I lost count building the platform before. And if you're using an iron weapon, you're not going to kill them as fast. Ideally, you want to get a sword that's got Unbreaking 3, Sweeping Edge, sharpness, but not looting, because you don't want to fill up your chests too fast, unless you're farming materials, like I said. You want to be able to kill them enough to get XP off of them. So if you notice, there's already creatures starting to spawn. This is a default world difficulty, so it's on normal. Because I have it with cheats on, we do put it in hard mode. That's me cutting the video because I forgot the iron trapdoors and the redstone blocks. The redstone blocks are there to activate the iron trapdoors, and the iron trapdoors are there to provide a little bit of space. Because without that space, the monsters can see you. So you got to be careful about that. This is like the most important part of the spawn build. We build a sword. That way we can go ahead and start killing monsters. And we go up. So this is like the most important part. Because it creates a little gap. It allows you to not get hit. And it allows them to not see you. Because they can still see you, unfortunately. Water elevator up. We attach them to the hoppers right there. Hold shift right there and right there. Red blocks to activate. Boom, boom. And there we go. There's our gap. Now, if you notice, I think I built mine 22 high by accident, which is why that creeper died. You got to be careful because the higher you build, the more creatures are going to die. You want to watch out for that. Now, with that slab there, you have to hold shift to walk in it. I go ahead and make it another layer deep, only because you can never be too careful. Plus, it might give you enough room to give you a heads up that you have to kneel to come down. And look, they can't see you. So you can hit them, and you get experience. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. So we're going to up the difficulty to hard mode. That way you can kind of see. I don't think they drop more, but they will drop with gear. And you can use that to kind of piece together gold gear if you want to go to the nether. This is the only place where you can get chain mail is off of mobs. You can trade it from villagers too, but it's kind of hard and kind of rare. If you notice, too many mobs are dying. But you can sit here for as long as you want. Wait for them all to pile up. There is a critical mass that they reach where after a certain point they'll die because they don't have enough room to exist. There's a little kid zombie. There's creepers, skeletons. That's everything that can spawn so far, except for we haven't seen a witch yet. When witches come down, they take damage. They actually drink a health potion to get themselves back up to full health, so they might take a little longer to kill. So if you ever see a witch come down, try to kill it as soon as possible. That way it doesn't drink a potion. And now I change over to spectator because I want to show you what's going on in the inner workings of this. So it's going to be dark, but check it out. You can see all the monsters coming down the water and going through the hole, and I'm showing where they spawn in at. There's the skeleton. Those are the zombies. There's where they come in, and they walk. There's a bunch of skeletons there, and they walk over to the edge, fall into the water, and come down for you to kill. That's proof of concept right there. You can see it all happening live. So we come back down here. We switch back over to survival, and we hit them a few times to get some more XP. But look at that. They're all in there. It's pretty dense. So I switch back over to survival mode, because that's the best way to play is in survival. And you can see we've already gained 5 levels just from hanging out. And you can get to 30 pretty quickly, especially if you're in hard mode. There's the chests gathering all the materials. You're going to want to make separate storage chests later. That way you can kind of create like a categorization system. This is me building the blocks and showing you that the stairs might not always work. I'm standing away because I don't want the creatures to see me. So if you notice, I kind of like turn the corner right there at the last second. That way nothing sees me. Put the blocks up, make it nice and clean. And then we do the same thing for the other 2 sides as well. So I go after the furthest away block first. If you notice, I'm going all the way across the toolbar to get to the material, not mousing up like I want to. I do that when I get nervous, I think. I don't think all the way. You can see the creatures hanging out, half hanging out on the block. That takes care of that. We have our little entryway here, and this is gonna be a nice cleanup of experience right there. Now, sometimes they'll hit you like that. It could be because they have thorns. It could be because they come down the edge of the wall and clip a little bit and hit you. They're not going to kill you. But there's the box. That's how it looks from when you're standing there. It's actually quite a nice looking piece of equipment. And then here's us taking the wide body shot to show you us, the gear that we're wearing. And to thank you guys for watching the video. I appreciate it. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. And I will see you guys soon in the next video. Good night. Thank you all for watching another video of mine here on YouTube. My name is Terahdra, and I stream on twitch.tv 5 days per week. Check the links below, find out the schedule, and hopefully I see you there. Let me know that you came from YouTube as well, wherever you are around the world, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you.